Welcome back to the Die Again podcast, an actual play tabletop role-playing podcast. I'm your game master, Josiah, and with me is my player,
William, playing Randall Mantone.
Last we left Randall, he was, after having killed a undead and trying to do some self-medicine, which did not work very well. He's now attempting to move up the stairs and lock the entrances to the stairs. He's the first floor, and did you lock the basement or did you leave that unlocked?
I'm fairly certain that I locked it.
I assumed you did, but I didn't remember if we said so. I only have the first floor written down, but it's fine to say you did the basement.
Okay.
So you're sneaking up to the second floor, which means you get to make a punk roll to start things off, which means +0 and plus nothing for items, and fuck you.
Glad to see we're starting this off positive, encouraging for each other, and that's a 7.
Yes, exactly. Positive, encouraging, and you're getting attacked by a zombie right now.
Oh.
You do that
wait.
thing where you're picking up your foot and moving it forward, and then your foot that's still on the ground slips a little bit, so your other foot goes wide and hits the metal railing of the staircase, and it just goes boom.
Okay.
So a zombie is going down the stairs now.
Okay.
That you can now see it.
I would be at the entrance for the first floor.
You're slightly above that. You're like, so you know how stairs, you've got floor, you go up, turn, up, and then you're at the next floor. So you're at that in between there.
Okay. Well, guys, in case our audience has forgotten, I've taken quite a beating already. So, and there's nothing different about this zombie. I mean, it looks the same as all the previous ones have.
It looks slightly more decayed than the previous ones, but otherwise, you're not looking at it and going, that's
Bob from from the other department.
Exactly.
Okay, well, I'm going to take my breaker bar and I'm going to lunge at it and try to smack its head.
Are you still using your lunchbox as a shield? Because I'll say it can take one more hit, basically, and then that lunchbox is pretty much done for.
I think he's just using the breaker bar right now.
Okay, so +1 for the breaker bar, +1 for Jock, and nothing for Vice or Virtue here. Since it's a new session, you have your reroll again, so I would let you use your sports team to reroll this if necessary. Go ahead and roll it.
Okay, so you gave me a +2, right?
Yes.
So that's a 6 total.
Do you want to reroll?
I feel like every time we do this, Josiah, I have to do the reroll pretty early on because otherwise it turns into I could die in this moment. So unfortunately, yes, I am doing the reroll.
You have bad luck because the average roll is a 7 on 2d6. And that you're rolling in the bottom 3 possible rolls on 2d6.
As we well know, if I'm making the character, I'm great. I can roll high. If I'm role-playing the character, it doesn't go so well.
And that's why I've made sure to only run systems where you don't get to roll the character.
It all makes sense now. Okay, so re-roll just 1 dice then?
No, both dice.
Okay, sweet. That's much better. So with the +2, that's a 13.
13. You move in with the breaker bar, sidestep its lunge, and then just bring the breaker bar in onto it. You do enough damage, its difficulty score is low enough that it's not going to be a roll you can fail anymore, so I'll just say you finish it in that hit.
And then I say, you have brain damage.
And a guitar riff plays. Mysteriously. You killed the zombie, said your 80s one-liner, and your sick guitar riff plays. And you're still on that part of the staircase, but you do get the impression that the element of stealth, as far as being in this staircase, is lost. So you can either start moving fast to get further up, or you can back out, go for the basement. I mean, I guess you could go for the first floor too, but I assume you don't want to. The basement gives you access to the elevators again. So then if you want to try and just climb the, what's it called? The cables.
The elevator cables.
Suspension, maybe.
The pulley straps. Maybe it's pulley straps.
Be really funny if it was just like the ones you use to strap things down in trucks. And there's just a little mechanical hand that winches it and releases it.
That's what gremlins are for.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and try to run up to the second floor and see if I can just close that door immediately.
Okay, so you're going to try and basically run for the second floor and try and close and lock it before anything gets through it?
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to call that a jock roll.
Can it be foolish as well?
I'll roll a die to see if it's foolish.
Okay.
It is. So you get a +1 for being foolish.
Why, dude?
That.
Why? A 3 and a 1.
Oh my god, your rolls are just god awful.
I'm gonna find another pair of dice. I know it truly doesn't actually matter in that sense, but
I mean, it could if you can have bad
it could.
dice. They do exist.
No, I mean like you know what I mean, like cursed, uncooperative.
I mean, could be. All right. So while you're doing that, Randall Mantone rushes up the stairs and goes to close the door. Unfortunately, that foolishness of yours, you don't notice that this is a push door instead of a pull door like the others. And so when you run forward, you slip and push it open and fall into the second floor. I don't believe we said what the second floor was before.
No.
It's just a set of offices for the logistics, so nothing special on second floor other than more computers, more paperwork. But there are zombies, and
they all see
yes, there's that. One of them is by the door, having heard you.
Well, so am I essentially
And more importantly, the real cost of this maneuver, you are holding the keys to lock the door really quickly, and those go flying into the cubicle farm. You would need to work to find those, basically.
How many zombies do I see?
Right now, there's one near you, and there's one near a corner office on the other side of the cubicle farm.
So I'm seeing the one that's further away. I'm seeing its head like above the cubicle.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So then, I mean, I don't think there's going to be any zombies sitting on a chair in their cubicle farms, but it's possible. Yeah. Am I completely knocked prone as far as
You probably landed on like an elbow, I would say. But you lost your grip on the keys, so they flew out with all that momentum behind them.
do I still have my breaker bar
Yes.
on me? Or
Because I assumed that was kind of stashed in your belt loop, probably.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm going to try to attack that zombie closest to me, like try to take out its legs.
Okay, I'm going to say you're at a -1 for this first attack, just because of your positioning. But you can sort of cancel that out if you use your lunch pail, use the last use of that.
Okay, I'll do that then.
Okay, so breaker bar, lunch pail. Gonna go for its legs?
Yeah.
All right.
So I don't have any pluses to this, right?
You get jock and 1 for the breaker bar, so that's your +2.
Okay. That's a 10 total.
10? Okay. You manage to use the lunch pail to block its arm swinging down at you, but your lunch pail is basically torn apart with that maneuver. But you also manage to bring your breaker bar up out of the belt loop and into the back of its knee, making it basically take a knee, and you can roll away and stand up now. It's obviously trying to get back up and attack you, and the other one seems to be moving towards you, but it's a reasonably large room.
Okay, so I want to go ahead and now now that I just have my breaker bar, just swing
All right.
his head.
Give that a roll. Jock and breaker bar, so that's 2.
That is a 6, so 12 plus another 2, right?
+2 for jock and breaker bar together, so yeah.
Okay, so that's a 14.
All right, so with your successful positioning, you bring the breaker bar down and crush this one's skull in.
Now, do these zombies look as old as the one that was in the stairwell?
These do not. They look less decayed.
Okay, so what's the second zombie across the cubicles doing now?
It's approaching. It's kind of shambling. It's not very fast, seemingly. And part of that may be because you can't see its eyes, so it has to be operating off of sound right now.
Then I want to take my shield, like the remains of it, the remains of my lunch pail, and I want to throw it. So if I'm, let's say, at the beginning of this door, and the zombie is still, for say, to my right, but further away, not quite past the cubicles, I want to chuck the remains of my lunch pail towards the corner closest to that zombie.
Okay, make a punk roll.
If I spiral it, do I get a jock roll?
No.
Oh, okay. Plus nothing, so that's an 8.
Okay, so the remains of your lunchbox that you managed to sort of scoop up and throw, kind of because it's a bunch of different pieces, they sort of scatter, but they all go that direction. So at the very least, you've made some noise over there. It does seem to be sort of confused because it's heard just a bunch of noises in different places. So now it's moving, it's changed route. So it may still come for you, but it's at least lost some time by by needing to change how it's getting to you.
Okay, then I want to sneakily see if I can locate the keys.
We'll do so it's a punk roll to sneak, and it'll be a nerd roll for the perception.
Okay, so sneak first. That is a 9.
Okay, right now it seems like you're moving along pretty stealthily. Luckily, your sneakers are quiet.
Sneaking.
And then,
Okay, and then my nerd is +1.
yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna roll for that. 6.
All right, so you're moving along, you're sneaking, but you're just not finding these keys. I mean, it's not a huge key ring, and it's a pretty big cubicle farm, and it could have landed in a potted plant. It could have, lots of places it could have gone, and it's pretty hard to sneak and find these keys at the same time.
How's that zombie doing?
Right now, it still seems to be investigating the sounds of the lunchbox having been thrown.
I'm so tempted to take the breaker bar and just try to javelin it to the zombie, but I'm afraid with my not so great rolls that I will lose said breaker bar and then I'll be completely defenseless.
You do have the fire extinguisher.
Can I still use my sneak roll moving forward, or do I have to re-roll every time?
I'd say it depends on what you're doing. If you want to go back the way you came, I would let you do that because you've already done that path. But the closer you want to get to it, the more likely it is I'm going to require a roll.
That's fine. Is there anything else inside of the cubicles farm that I could see that I could perhaps use as a weapon?
Are you just going to start going through the cubicles looking for other tools, basically?
Yes.
Okay. Make a nerd roll.
+1. That is a 7.
7. About the most useful thing you find is one of those soup thermoses. It's not going to be much good as a weapon, but it is sort of heavy enough and stable enough that you could chuck it for another distraction.
Okay, I will do that. If I can get, what I'm thinking is, if you allow it, distract it again and maybe use that as a boost for sneaking closer to it.
I'll let it be a +1 to your sneak roll because it's you using the item, so...
Well, so then you want me to roll for sneak?
Yeah, so plus punk.
Okay, so +1 total. That's a 10.
10. All right, so you long arm this thing, and it's much more football shaped than random bits of lunchbox. So you aim it, and you manage to basically hit a clock that's pretty close to the zombie. So then the clock also crashes down and makes noise. And so it's just sort of a cacophony right there, and the zombie's turned facing away from you. And that allows you to sneak up and you get behind it. So you've got, if you're going to attack it, I'll give you a +1 to that.
Okay. While I was walking up, did I see the keys anywhere?
You have not. I'll just tell you, because you failed that search roll, basically, unless someone else finds the keys for you, you're not going to be able to find the keys anymore.
And that is the kind of DM he is. I failed, and I failed.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm going to try to attack the zombie then.
All right, so
that's going to be...
You've got +3 total.
Nice. Dang. Okay, that's a 13.
13, so that does enough damage. I'll say that's a one-shot. So you walk up behind him, and you just bring that breaker bar directly into its skull, knocking it down, and you don't see any other zombies in the immediate area right now.
Is this building, is each floor fairly open, or am I just in a section that's closed off to the rest of the floor?
Not every floor is open, but the cubicle farm floors are fairly open because you get pillars for support in the cubicle farm areas. Then you've got the cubicles, and then along the non-staircase, non-elevator walls, you'll have corner offices, and that's where the more important people are.
So ultimately
there are other floors that do have different layouts. Like there's on floor 3, you have some meeting areas. So those are proper hallways and rooms.
So I can see where the elevator's at? Is it open enough for that?
Oh yeah, that's easy. And it's also easy because where the elevators are relative to the staircase is always the same.
Makes sense. And I see no other zombies on this floor?
No. Now, granted, there could be zombies either in the elevator. No, they can't be in the elevator because we've already established where the elevators are. In the cubicle farm, if they're low enough, or in one of these corner offices, or in the stairwell because you can't lock the stairwell anymore. The elevator doors are closed.
And one of the elevators, unless somebody else has moved them, would be in the basement, and the other one, I assume I don't know.
One's in the basement, one's on the first floor. Because remember, you stopped at the first floor, the doors started to open, you climbed up, and then you went and jumped over to the other one, and you went down to the basement that way.
Okay. So, and you said the door going to the stairwell from the perspective of the cubicles, you pull that open, right?
Yes.
When I look around, do I see, like, does it look like furniture has been destroyed by the zombies? Like they're intentionally attacking the cubicles?
Some things have been disrupted and destroyed. It doesn't seem like there's attempt to destroy furniture so much as if it's in the way of the zombie's not gonna be like, I'll pick this up and put it over there.
They'll try to break it.
Yeah, they're just gonna muscle their way through.
Okay, I think I'm going to take the risk of trying to go back into the stairwell and go up to the third floor.
Okay. And what's the objective of going to the third floor?
Well, my character really doesn't know other than trying to find potentially other people that aren't infected. That's his main goal right now.
The other, aside from the offices, the thing I forgot to mention, every floor would have bathrooms. So if you wanted to, in terms of makeshift weapons, if you wanted to go into one of the bathrooms, go to one of the, I forget what you would call a sitting toilet, but one of those and grab the cistern lid. It'd be one use thing, but chuck it or use as a shield. And I'd say you could only carry one of those just for obvious reasons, but and the other thing is you haven't checked the corner offices, so if you wanted to look through those to see like has someone locked themselves in one of those, that's the other option that you could take.
You know what? Let's do that. Let's on the second floor carefully walk around and go to each corner office. So
Okay.
whichever one's closest, I'll try that first.
So are you moving slow, trying to be ready for any zombie that could be in there? Are you knocking in case there is a person in there? What's your approach?
I am moving slow, ready to attack if something were to happen. I'm not going to knock. I'm going to try to slowly open the door.
Okay. There are 4 of these offices.
Okay.
So in the first one, there's no zombie or person in it, but it does look like it's has some personal effects if you want to take the time to go through their briefcase and that sort of thing to see if there's anything useful.
I would like to, yes.
Okay.
If I can close the door as well behind me.
Do you want to try and close the door and stick the rolling chair, like wedge it?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, I'll let you do that for free. This is also being a wall section, you get a window, so
Okay.
you can pull up the blinds and look outside if you want to.
Okay. What does the outside world look like right now?
So you've got the storm, you've got the rain, the winds shaking the trees. You're at the second floor, so your sight of it isn't terrible. I guess if you want detail, you'll have to make a nerd roll, but you can see figures moving around out there, seemingly aimlessly. You do see that there is a car, or rather, there's 3 cars. So you know one of them's a security guy, and you know one's yours, and you don't necessarily know who the third one is. I'd let you make a nerd roll to see if you recognize it.
Okay. I'll try that out. That is an 11.
All right. With an 11, you recognize that this is the regional manager's office. Car. I mean, maybe their car is their office. You never know.
Or maybe I'm in the regional manager's office.
Could be. Let me pull that information up real quick, because you would know what their name is just because you have been called in. Regional manager, her name is Vivian Gunther. You haven't had much interaction with her, but she has called you in once or twice just to fix a problem with her computer or to write a very specific analysis, that sort of thing. So you would know management, top floor. So if she is in her office, that's where she is.
Which would make sense. Okay. And there's one more car that I'm not familiar with, I'm assuming.
No, there's 3 cars. You know the security guy's car because he's there when you leave normally. So
right. So now I have a potential goal in mind on who could be alive. Is there anything else inside this cubicle or this apartment inside this office?
Just because your apartment is the size of a cubicle.
Hey, you were just talking about needing more space too, so we're both in the same situation of sorts. But anyways,
so there's the briefcase.
Is there anything else? Okay, I'll open it.
And if you want to take the time, you can start looking through the desk. But as you know, the more time you take here, the more likely it is that something will have had the time to react to the sound that you made doing all this. So,
is there anything in the briefcase?
So inside the briefcase, you manage to find one of those pin knives. So not going to be any good for killing zombies, but it could be good for getting something open.
Like, so it's a shape of a knife, or?
No, utility knife.
Okay,
So
then I'll go ahead and pocket that and start to sneak over to the next office.
all right, so you're still planning to check all of them.
Yeah, for now.
Opening the next one. This one looks like a zombie did trash it. You would guess one of the zombies you've already dealt with because you don't see any in there, but there's pretty much obviously nothing of use in here.
So is the door like destroyed, or?
No, because the doors open, you pull them open from the cubicle side. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. That's backwards.
You open them from the office side?
Yeah, you pull them from the office side because you propped it. Yes, this door is damaged. Yes. It's not busted open, but it does seem like the zombie damaged it
Clearly.
in the act of working the doorknob.
Okay, there's 4 total, right?
Yeah, so you've been through
Offices
2
here?
of them.
Okay, let's try door number 3.
All right, this one looks untouched.
Okay, I am going to brace myself and slowly open it.
All right, opening it up, you can see that this one has been mostly repurposed as a sort of makeshift filing cabinet room, but there is a swinging door cabinet on the far wall, so if you want to check in there for anything useful.
It's hard to imagine there being anything useful in a filing room cabinet,
Yeah,
but I'll go ahead and look really quick.
Okay.
Maybe there's a tactical stapler or something.
that's basically correct. You get a staple gun, and this is the type that you could use to staple wood, so that's why this could be of some use to you.
Hydraulic or battery powered or pin powered, I guess.
It's a type where you have to, like, punch it in.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take the stapler with me. It might be useful. What do I call this again?
I would just call it an assisted stapler. It offers assistance when you're using it, so it can actually force that in there.
Okay, so I'm bagging that and I'm going to make it to the last office.
I guess the other thing you could do with a stapler like that, if you find yourself in an area with enough paper, is block off lines of sight.
Yeah.
All right, checking the last office. This one, the door does seem damaged as you go for it, so do you still want to open it?
Yes.
Opening the door, there's like half a zombie inside, and you are...
Still alive?
Yes, that's what I was getting at, is you are dismayed to find that if the head is not destroyed, the zombie seems to just keep on going as this torso arm zombie is crawling towards you.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and bash its head in with the breaker bar.
All right, roll it.
And do I get a plus for it being on the ground and me having the high ground?
No, it just has it's already taken some damage.
Okay, I rolled an 8.
All right, so you finish it off. You missed your opportunity to staple all its fingers to the floor. Keep it in place.
That's coming up, but then I'd be like, it's going to somehow communicate to the other zombies, and
Telepathy.
no, it'll be through fungus. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the stairwell then and go to the 3rd floor.
You would have noticed when you killed this zombie, it does have an identifiable scrap of clothing on it, which is a tie. So let me write down that you found that.
So when you say identifiable, like...
Just that you can tell what it is.
Oh, okay. So not like, that's definitely Rick's tie.
No, just the fact that you can tell exactly what that scrap of clothing was is significant here. Because the rest of them, if there's even scraps of clothing left, it's too rotted. So what's your next move?
So I'm going to head back towards the stairwell. I want to go to the 3rd floor. How's my wound doing? The one that got scratched intentionally by the zombie.
I believe you had gauzed your wounds, correct?
Yeah. But, I mean, does it look like the infection,
Well,
like it's spreading?
you don't see anything coming out of the gauze. If you want to peel off the gauze, you can, but I'm going to say you run the risk of aggravating your wound because you are not a trained professional on that.
So I guess what I'm saying is, just from a perspective point of view, it doesn't look like it's getting worse. It's just kind of staying the same.
It doesn't seem any different than if you had torn it up falling off the stairs or something.
Okay, so get to the stairwell. Are there any zombies in there?
None that you can see currently. Do you want to take the time to try and just wait and listen for movement? Or do you want to just take the speed advantage that you have right now?
Let me take a moment to listen.
All right, make a nerd roll. This means you don't get your vice. I have to give everyone foolishness as a vice from now on.
7.
You do hear some echoing from up the stairwell as you wait, but it is a little hard to tell, is that a zombie or is that just the upper floors, because of the storm, do sway a bit. So that could be like someone left their Sprite can up there. It's not distinct enough for you to be able to tell at this distance, but you would guess it has to be from the upper floors. So like floor 5 or 6.
Okay, so I get to the 3rd floor. How's that door looking?
You're moving up to the 3rd floor? Are you
Up
trying
the
to go
stairwell.
sneaky or fast?
Sneaky.
All right, and that's where we're going to pick up next time.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Randall Mantone survives another episode. What's in store as we ascend up this zombie-infested building? Find out next time. Thank you for joining us for the Season 2 of the Die Again podcast. Please consider giving us a follow and tune in next time.
I'm losing my mind slowly.
No, each door in this building is different.